Okay. This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Delighted today to be joined Mark Tibbs, fresh off of a very, very busy weekend. How's things, mate? How are we? I suppose it's not been too long since I last spoke to you.
No, it was a good weekend. As you know, we was over in Stratford, the Copper Box, or the Copper Bosh. No,
Absolutely.
we had a great weekend there with Giorgio Visioli, getting a nice 6 rounder against a decent opponent and looking masterfully skillful in the process. Johnny Hedges, fantastic win in getting a Southern Area cruiserweight title shot against Lewis Oakford. And unfortunately, they got a clash of heads after 4 rounds and went to a technical decision. But he won every round for me. So happy with that. And the icing was on the cake in a sellout Copper Box event with Johnny Fisher getting a 36-second KO over Alen Babic. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I suppose firstly, just touch on that, having sort of 3 fighters on the card, or having, I suppose, in general, preparing 5 fighters for that Saturday. Have you ever experienced anything like that where you had to prepare so many fighters for one date? Like, what is the most that you have had before?
Yeah, I think I've had 5 or 6 fighters on before on the Frank Warren shows at York Hall a few years back. I've done that before, back to back. Yeah. Yeah, I've done it not for a little while, but yeah, it was a little bit telling, but it was more people around me was more worried.
Yeah, yeah.
And kept asking questions how we're going to do it, but we've been doing this for a long while now, so yeah,
Did you
it
find
worked
it?
out well.
Did you find it somewhat easier because when Visioli finished, just as soon as he finished, right, you got to get John warmed up, Hedges, and then when Hedges finished, it was like, right, let's get Johnny warmed up. Right, is there something a little bit easier about that? I guess.
Well, look, I thought you was talking about the preparation, because the
Yeah.
preparation is the preparation and managing of the camps and the sparring
Hmm.
is where all the work's done. On the
Yeah.
evening, we're done, we're cooked, we have our
Yeah.
game plans in place. All we need to do is get the right slots so we can go bang, bang, bang. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think Giorgio was on at 7 o'clock.
Hmm.
John Hedges was on at 8 o'clock, and we had a nice gap for Johnny Fisher. So along with myself and Sonny Cannon and Jamie Sheldon, we went bang, bang, bang. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose just before we get on to Johnny, we'll start on the first fight of the night, which is obviously Giorgio, getting a decent 6 rounds on his belt, and a good performance. I spoke to Giorgio after the fight, and he said, he'd feel a little bit weird not getting his stoppage, but I suppose a good learning rounds for him, going the rounds of a guy who's a little bit of a tricky operator.
Well, it was not only tricky, he was a tough man, and that man was put in his lane to get the rounds for sure. And that's how you build. That's how you build prospects like Giorgio Visioli. You've got to give him. You got to give him. Little tests here and there. And he was a tough man, that guy. And his manager come up to me and said, "Mark, listen, I'm glad you didn't stop us. He's got another job booked in 2 weeks' time. If he'd have
Yeah,
stopped him, he wouldn't have the job." So they're tough men, them sort of guys, and especially them guys from Africa. Are very, very tough, and they want to get through the rounds, so they know what they're doing as well.
how unique is it to deal with a fighter like Giorgio? He's so I suppose, so very light on his feet, throws a lot of combinations. What is it like dealing with someone like Giorgio, who probably you could say maybe a little bit different to anyone you might have dealt with before?
Well, Giorgio on Saturday night, he was, like you say, a bit nimble and light on his feet, and he had to be, because the guy was a heavy-handed swinger, and he was a real man. And until you've been out on the whiskers by a real man, it's a different feeling. And Giorgio was prepared for that. So I don't think I think he got touched once, he got caught
Yeah,
once, but no, Giorgio's a phenomenal boxer in the fact that you have to tell him little adjustments, and he really, really does trust the adjustments and does things instantaneously. So, you know, I'm looking forward for when the tasks get harder. I know Giorgio will be built at the right pace. Yeah.
Yeah. When do you think that time is for him? Because you can clearly see he's got the ability, but I suppose it's all about molding him into the professional game. Like how do you think long that process is before he's fighting like the 10 rounders, the title fights, I guess?
Well, listen, you know, it could be a couple of years, you know, which will fly by like that. But Giorgio's got he's got all the shots, all the potential, all the ability, all the readability, all of that. But he's still a boy. He's not mature yet, you know. And with maturity comes wisdom, and you know, you can't rush a very, very good prospect's career who you know you can see is going to be a world champion. You don't do that. You don't do them things anyway. I couldn't rush his career anyway. He has a good management and a promoter behind him, and I wouldn't want to because I've seen it all before. And you got to, as I say, he's got a harder that, and he will do, and he'll pro up, and he'll get wise, and yeah, he'll get wise with experience.
Yeah. Did also want to touch on John Hedges. I suppose a good win for him, but a little bit bittersweet with it being stopped on the cut. Against a good fighter in Lewis Oakford. So yeah, good I suppose to see John get a title under his belt, although it isn't, you know, I'm sure he would have liked it to go the rounds, I guess.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed myself because you know, didn't really want him to end like that. John was just too good for Lewis Oakford. Just far too good. That is far too good for him. So, you know, John would have got in the groove in the mid late rounds. It would have. I think he would have just boxed Lewis's head off, and I really believe he probably would have stopped him. Yeah, but listen, easier said than done, and you can't do it if the clash of heads like that. It was just very disappointing all round.
Definitely, and I suppose now it's only time to go on onto Johnny Fisher. Short but sweet on Saturday night, an unbelievable performance and almost like a coming out party for Johnny. I suppose, and now it's been a couple of days and you've let it sit. How do you look back on Saturday night and that performance as a whole? Because I suppose Johnny was in there for sort of the ring walk was longer than the fight, I guess.
Yeah. Well, listen. To be fair, you know, it is disappointing for the fans, but we was prepared for 10 hard rounds because, you know, just because of the stylistically, how Babic fights. But, you know, in the dressing room, Johnny was so on point, so polished. I had every bit of confidence. And I think soon as Johnny, we planned to have a look at him, but not to mess around. Have a look at him, but if your distance is right, just let your hands go as fast as you can. But you know they've got to land, and they've got to be 4-knuckle contact. And I explained to him just before going out one or two things that we've already been working on, but I just reiterated it to him, and he stuck to the game plan. And what you saw is what we planned, you know. Yeah. And but to be fair, when Eddie Hearn was saying he fancies 3 rounds, I was thinking, bloody hope so.
Yeah.
and it was 36 seconds. So credit to Johnny Fisher, but it's a testament, as I said before, to the work he's put in, and everyone has put in. So let me tell you something. He's people haven't seen what I've seen in the preparation for that fight, but boxing fans have got a lot to look forward to in Johnny Fisher's whatever the future holds for him in his boxing career. I'll tell you that now.
Did you sense that performance from Johnny? Because I spoke to a few people after the fight, and they were saying, you know, that was one of the calmest I've ever seen him in the dressing room, etc., and all this preparation. Did you sense that, you know, this is it could get like this on in the fight?
Well, I've always said to Johnny last couple of fights about being calm and being calculated. And I think the threat of Alen Babic, it brought the best out in him. It brought the best out in Johnny. And, you know, we want to see good connection of shots, place them shots. It's such a waste if you don't, because of what specimen he is, what a fine specimen Johnny is. So it's just took a few fights for him to get it. And you know what? In this camp, the Babic camp, he got it. He's got it. So, you know, the future's bright. It's future's bright for Johnny Fisher. And listen, and the announcement on the 24th of August.
I was about to say that, yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's I suppose the intention that, you know, 36 seconds left to get back out there in, I suppose, 6 weeks' time, you could say.
Yeah, whenever the 24th of August is, I ain't done me maths. I ain't had time to think about it. But I'm not long seeing John, and we've had a chat on one or two things, and it's great. It's great. He's just going to pick up where he left off and keep learning and keep maintaining. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get a couple of weeks of training in soon. Have a couple of days off, pick it back up, and then get some sparring arranged. Yeah.
And when it comes to what could be next for Johnny, and it's only right that after a big win like that, he's going to be wanting big domestic names. How likely do you think? I think Dave Allen was a fight that a lot of people were talking about either way of Dacres and Adelaide. Obviously, the Dacres Adelaide fight has just been postponed actually, so that's a bit of a frustrating one. But ideally, who could be next for yourself? Do you look at a Dave Allen fight? Do you look at either David Adelaide as well?
Do you know what? As I said before, if you could see how we prepare for this camp, yeah, Johnny is now ready for the David Adelaide and I hate to say it, Solomon Dacres and even Fabio Wardley's and Fraser Clark's. But listen, we've got a fine specimen. We don't rush because we've had a good result. You know what I mean? We've got plans, and Johnny's got his management who liaise with myself on that. But listen, we're going to keep our feet on the ground, keep learning, keep getting a bit more experience, and I'm sure them fights will come off in the not too distant future. Yeah.
Definitely. Just a last one from myself. I did want to talk about like sort of away from work on Saturday night, but away from the couple box. Obviously, Joel Bartell suffering a tough defeat against Jordan Reynolds. A bit of a frustrating one, I guess. A tough one to take for Joel.
Yeah, well, I went down to Guildford yesterday actually, and to go and see Joel. I had some lunch with him, and yeah, it was. Listen, it was a little bit of a roll of the dice, that fight, to be fair. But seven fights apiece they both had, or my guy had one more than him, or one less than him, either or either. But Jordan's been around a very long while. Well, although he's had 7 pro fights only, probably 8 now, he feels like he's been around forever because he's been around the GB squad a lot, and been around the professional systems and the camps. He's been Ireland, he's been England, he's been everywhere. They don't call him the Wanderer.
Yeah.
But so like, I feel like he's been around forever. So a little bit early probably for Joel, that fight. A little bit early, but I did watch it. I watched it once that night, about 2 o'clock in the morning. I watched the replay of it, and it was a lot closer than I was getting fed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It was a lot closer because I wasn't at the event. I couldn't make it, obviously, because I was with Fisher, Johnny. It was a lot tighter than I was being fed, and so I felt a lot better about it.
Yeah.
When I watched it, but credit to Jordan, and yeah, spoke to Joel, and he's going to have a few days off before we make some plans on what Richard Maynard, his manager, and myself plan to do. But yeah, very gutted for him. But yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. As always, Mark, as always, thank you for taking time to speak to me. Really, really good to catch up with you. And said, well done on all the success on Saturday night. Obviously, tough to deal with Joel, but yeah, well done on all the success nonetheless, mate.
Let's not forget Finley James.
Oh yeah, cool. Sorry.
The slick southpaw. He's apparently he looked very, very good. I mean, not apparently. I did watch him.
Yeah.
He looked a lot better than he has done in the past. So yeah, he's a slow. Going to be a slow burner, Finley. But yeah, he won his 4-round fight for sure. Yeah. So
perfect. Good to hear, mate. Good to hear. As always, Mark. Thank you for always taking time to speak to me. Appreciate it. And yeah, take care, mate. See you soon.
Take care. See you soon, mate.